Welcome back to another class on Halacha for women. We are continuing the laws of tzitzit. You might be asking yourself, what does tzitzit have to do with women? That's a very good question, by the way. Actually, it has everything to do with a woman or a mother or a wife. As we'll see today, Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef Shlomo is going to go ahead and try to bring down a few halachot. Before we do begin, I have over here a talit katan. This is actually brand new. This is called a talit katan. These are called tzitziyot. Now, why am I demonstrating this over here? Because we have to understand, Rabotai, the great reward that a person gets by wearing this tzitziyot. And as we'll go on, I will show you more things, how we have to be very careful when it comes to talit katan. So Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef Shlomo begins and he says, Davar tovu, it's a good thing. Shegam ha'ishat misa'ed biyad bala ubanecha b'mitzvah talit katan. It's a good thing that a woman should go ahead and help her husband and her children when it comes to the mitzvah of talit katan. V'tiyeh zihira livdok et talit katan. She should be careful to go ahead and check the talit katan. I will explain to you. Shemichina bigadim lebala lehachlifam. That when she prepares the clothing for the husband to change, she should go ahead and try to go ahead and check the husband's talit katan. Now you have to understand. Let's say the husband, he comes home. He goes into the shower. Now you're preparing your husband. You're giving him his undergarment, undershirt, whatever, the clothing that you're preparing, socks, whatever it is, Erev Shabbat, I don't know. Let's say the husband takes off his talit katan. As a woman, you want to be very careful. You want to go ahead and you want to start trying to check the tzitziyot. That's what Rabbi Yitzchak Yosef Shlomo is saying. Even though we're going to see towards the end that there's no real halacha, that there's no obligation from the halachic standpoint that you have to check, nevertheless, he says it's a good thing. We'll see why, Rabotai. Bottom line is when you're looking at the talit katan, as you can see over here, there's always space. If you guys can see over here, 1 second. All right, let's do this. You see over here that there's always space, right? There's a good amount of space. See where the hole is? If you look at the talit katan, I don't know if you guys can see it. See this one. Over here, it's stitched thoroughly. By the seam, by the hole over here, it's stitched. Why is it stitched? Because a woman has to be careful a lot of times, especially for children when they're playing and so on and so forth, or when the beggar starts getting worn out, the hole can come actually closer. Basically, if the hole is over here right now, this hole can actually rip and come down closer. Once it comes down closer, it can disqualify the tzitzit. So the husband thinks he's wearing the tzitzit, the children think they're wearing the tzitzit. They don't realize that they're not wearing no tzitzit. So that's a woman has to be very careful to go ahead and try to check this. At the same time, she has to go ahead and try to check that there are 8 strings in Rabotai. It's very important because, let me see, over here is 4, right? 4 to each side. A lot of times, especially children, they ride bicycles, they play basketball, kids step on them and so on and so forth, and they can rip. So what you want to do is before, you're going to give your husband the clothing anyway, he says it's a good thing, let the woman go ahead and let her start checking the tzitzit to make sure that it is kosher. If you're going to tell me, Rabbi, let him do it himself, yes, he should, we'll see, do it himself, but it's a good thing, Rabotai, why not? He continues and he says over here, also, the mother or the wife, whoever is doing the laundry for the talit katan, you have to try to go ahead and be careful not to rip the strings. A lot of times they rip. A lot of times these strings rip. It becomes disqualified. Again, there's halachot on how much it becomes disqualified. Just be careful that it doesn't rip. So he says, okay, באופן הפוסל הטלית, ושלא יהיו הציציות מסובכים זה בזה. Right, we don't want the tzitziyot, we don't want the tzitziyot to be intermingled with each other, right? For example, we don't want the tzitziyot to be like this. When we want the tzitziyot, when the child is wearing it, when the husband is wearing it, you want to make sure that the tzitziyot are completely out. So basically, let's try to do this. Each string by itself. Right? You want to go ahead and make each string by itself, and then he can go ahead and put it on. But we don't want them to be intertwined with one another. ותקבל שכרה מן השמיים שמצילה את בעלה מאיסור. She's gonna get a reward from heaven that she saves her husband from an iser, from something which is asur to do. Because you have to understand, to wear a four-cornered garment without tzitzit is asur, it's not allowed. If I can try to give you a nice example, this is not halacha. You know, you have a towel. Let's say you have a beach towel or a regular towel in the house that you dry yourself with after the shower. If I take that towel right now and I put it on myself, am I obligated to put tzitzit on it, meaning the fringes? This is called tzitzit. Am I obligated to put tzitzit on my towel or not? Not so simple. Because the law is, anytime you wear a four-cornered garment, you have to put on tzitzit. And that is a four-cornered garment. A towel has four corners. Some people are stringent and they round off one corner. Why am I telling you this? Because when you're dealing with tzitzit, so he's wearing a four-cornered garment, right? It's over here. We have four-cornered, two in the beginning, two in the front, two in the back. Yeah, I think the rabbi gave me a big size. Not 24. Okay. You have four corners, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what happens if it becomes disqualified? Let's put it like this. If the string rips up to here, let's say it rips up to here, because it doesn't have enough for the finger. Let's say it rips up to here, one string is out. Or let's say, even better, you have a string that ripped by accident over here on the top. Right over here on the top. Or the hole ripped and now the tzitzit, this tzitzit where it's supposed to be over here, it's actually over here. So it comes out that the husband or the child is wearing a four-cornered garment and he doesn't have tzitzit on it. And that's a very big problem. That is a humongous problem. So he's wearing a four-cornered garment without tzitzit, and every second he's wearing it, he's making the nevera. So that's why a woman is able to save her husband from sin. Now, just as a side point, has nothing to do with this. How careful, if the halacha requires a woman to be careful with mitzvah tzitzit, that the husband shouldn't do a sin, how much more so women have to be careful not to take their husbands' places, not to take their husbands to places where they can look at forbidden things, can do forbidden things, be with forbidden people. It's not so simple, Rabotai. We think, I take my husband, we go to Cancun, we go to Mexico, I don't know, you go to Miami, you can do whatever you want. It's not a problem. There's ways to go about it in the kosher way. I also go on vacations. But the only difference between me and somebody else is I might have to end up paying a little bit more only because it has to be more private. I won't travel on the boat with many people. That's a problem. So you take a private boat, you take a private island, you do everything private. So it costs you a few $100s more. But Rabotai, if Hashem wants to give you money, He'll give you all the money in the world. A wife needs to go out. The children need to go out. They have to have some relaxation. They have to free their mind from everything that's around them, from school, from work, whatever the situation might be. Good, the husband has an obligation to give that to his wife, to take her out, let her go out and see the world a little bit. But it could be done in a kosher way. It can't be done in a way that's done according to the law. You don't have to go to the beach where there's women that are almost not dressed, or you want to go you want to go jet skiing, so you have to go where there's people, where they're not modest. I one time was in a hotel. I went in a good week. I went in a Shiva week. So with a lot of Jews, people told me it was going to be bad. I went to Miami. It was the Trump International, something like that. It was a hotel in Miami. So as we went over there, I really wanted to do jet skiing. In the end, I didn't do it. We did boating. We had to go on a port, like a port outside. You couldn't, whatever. It was a whole thing. It was like maybe, I think, $450 maybe for 2 hours, just for the family, but it was worth it. It was worth it because you're by yourself, you do what you have to do, you go places, whatever. It was nice. But why am I telling you this? As we were there, I was trying to look for a jet ski. So the guy told me, from the hotel manager, he said, we have jet skis in our hotel, but it's in the back of the building, meaning in the back of the hotel, by the beach, literally by the beach. You come out, you go and you ride it. So I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to the back of the beach. That side, I'm not going to. There's only one way I know, the door and back. That's it. Come in and out. But again, Rabotai, you have to be smart. You could go ahead, you can do it. You can pay a little bit more. You'll get your privacy, and you're making Hashem happy. You're not doing no sin, nothing. That's why over here he's telling you, if it comes to the midst of tzitzit, how careful you have to be to protect your husband from doing something which is not allowed. How much more so when it comes with anything else, right? Another problem is kemich yashan. I speak about this a lot, maybe not on the videos, but kemich yashan is a humongous problem. A wife walks into the house, she goes to, let's say, Dunkin' Donuts. Kemich yashan, they don't have. They have chadash. Or she'll go to some Ashkenazi restaurant. Even we have today, Rabotai, I've been in many places and I ask them before I order anything, is it Kemich Hashan, is it Bet Yosef, and so on and so forth. Some people are not particular, but that is an issue from the Torah. That prohibition is from the Torah. You ask a person if he's eating Kemich Hashan and if he's eating Chas v'Shalom pig, this is asur from the Torah and this is asur from the Torah. That's how we, the Sephardim Paskin. That's how we hold halachically. So a woman has to know she cannot bring whatever she wants into the house if it's not Kemich Hashan. It has to be Kemich Hashan. Now she's eating it, she buys pasta, for example. She goes to, I don't know, Costco or BJ's or any other store and she buys bread. You have to make sure it's Kemich Hashan. If it's not Kemich Hashan, you cannot feed it to your husband. It's a very big problem. Another problem is Chalav Yisrael, milk that was overwatched by a Jew. They can bring it to the house again. For Chalav Yisrael, there's a leniency. For Kemich Yashan, when you know 100% that it's Kemich Yashan, meaning if you know it's 100% Chadash, then you're not allowed to eat it. If you want to make double that, I'm not going to get into all halachot. We hold halachically when it comes to Yashan, it's a must. When it comes to Chalav Yisrael, there's room to be lenient. But I wouldn't suggest, even the wife of the house or the mother of the house, she should see to it that her house is not only, how they say, is not only protected from everything outside of the world, but also inside the house, you want to make sure that it's kosher for your kids and your husband. Yashan, Chalav Yisrael, no garbage, and all these things that Rabotai make a difference in your husband's life, in his davening, in his avodat Hashem, how your children are going to grow up, and so on and so forth. Anyway, let's continue back into the halacha. He continues over here and he says, "Umikol makom benosov al bidikat ishto." Nevertheless, on this that the wife is going to go ahead and check the tzitzit of the husband or the child. Tov sheyivdok gamu. It's good that also he should go ahead and check it. Let the husband also check it. Ki yesh omrim sheina isha nemenu midin ed echad hainaman beisur. Because there's some rabbis that they hold that a woman cannot be trusted when it comes to things that are asur. And over here you have that problem, so maybe she's really not trusted. Nevertheless, he says, nevertheless, checking the tzitzit is really not from a halachic standpoint. Now, that is what Rabbi Yisrael brings down. If we look into the Shulchan Aruch says, look, Rabotai, how important it is to wear tzitzit. Im in Adam lovesh talit bat arba kanafot ein chay b'tzitzit. If you're not wearing a four-cornered garment, you're not obligated to go ahead and put tzitzit. You're not obligated to wear it. If you're not wearing, you have to understand, when am I obligated to put tzitzit on which beged? If it's only made from four corners. That means if I'm wearing an undershirt that doesn't have four corners, I'm not obligated in the midst of tzitzit. I don't have to put on tzitzit. That's what he's telling us over here. Im in Adam lovesh talit bat arba kanfot ein chay b'tzitzit. If a person is not wearing a garment which is with four corners, you're not obligated in the midst of tzitzit. Nevertheless, he says, v'tov v'nachon, it's good and it's correct. Liyot kol adam zahir l'bosh talit katan kol hayom. Nevertheless, he says, it's good and correct that every single person should go ahead and wear a talit katan the whole day. Why? Kedei sheyizkor ha-mitzvot b'chol rega. In order for you to be able to remember Hashem's mitzvot every single moment. V'al ken yesh bo chamisha kesharim keneged chamisha chumshei Torah. Right? If you pay attention in the Talit Katan, we have over here 5 knots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have over here 5 knots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 knots represent the 5 books of Torah. The Arba Kenafim, why do we have 4 corners? Why do we have 4 corners in the Talit Katan? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do we have 4 corners? He says this is going to represent Shebechol Tash Ivri, because there's 4 corners of the world. Any side you're going to want to turn to, Yizkor, you're going to come and remember the mitzvah of, you're going to come and remember the mitzvot of Hashem. Continues in Halacha Vav, by the way, he says, one who's careful, as a hirbe mitzvah tzitzit, look at this, one who's careful in the midst of tzitzit, zochev v'ro'eh pnei shechina. He's going to have the merit and he's going to see the divine. He's going to see Hashem himself, B'ezrat Hashem. Why? For this? Because you have to remember, Rabotai, if I'm not wearing a four-cornered garment, I'm not obligated in the midst of tzitzit. But if I am wearing a four-cornered garment, I am obligated. So what do we do today? We go out of our way and we obligate ourselves in a four-cornered garment with the mitzvah of tzitzit. So we should have that zuchut. So you have to understand, as a wife, as a mother, even as a sister, as a daughter, doesn't matter. If you have boys in the house, men in the house, you want to try to go ahead and educate them on the mitzvah of tzitzit, because it is a very important mitzvah. Now, just to finish with a small story, they say about the Gaon of Vilna before he was dying. I don't know how many of you guys know who the Gaon of Vilna was, but he was very big. It's take Chacham Ovadia and times it 100 times more, 1,000 times more. He was humongous. Chacham Ovadia is big, but the Gaon of Vilna also was big. They were big people, and they say about him when he was dying, they explained that he started crying. So they ask him, why are you crying? He says, because for a few pennies, for a few dollars, in this world I'm able to acquire Olam Haba. He says, when he dies, he's not going to be able to acquire no more Olam Haba, because he's not going to be able to do mitzvot. So they said, Kvod Rav, we don't understand. Can you please explain? He says, yes. If you go to the store and you spend a few dollars on a talit katan, every second that you're wearing it, you're making mitzvot. For doing what? You spend $20, $30, and you're building your Olam Haba. So what is a person going to tell him, Rabbi, I can't wear it, it's too hot, it's too cold, it feels itchy. So what you're telling me is you're willing to overgo the great reward that you're going to get in the next world just because you want to be comfortable in this world. Rabotai, this is why we have to know what's right and what's wrong. Halachically, does he have to put it on? If he's not wearing a four-cornered garment, no. But is he going to go ahead? Is he going to miss the reward of tzitzit? 100% yes. So that's why a person has to go ahead. I'll give you a nice example. Somebody gets the lottery numbers, and they tell him, go play tomorrow, you'll win tomorrow. If he doesn't go and play, something bad happened. Did he lose something? Technically not, because he never had that money yet. But had he gone and played, he would have become a millionaire. Now he doesn't have that money. So that's the difference. When you're doing mitzvot, you might say, Rabbi, how much am I losing in not doing this mitzvah, putting on tzitzit? What you losing? Well, you're not doing no avera. What can you be losing? You're not doing no avera because you're not wearing a four-cornered garment. So you're not doing no avera. But the question is not what you're not doing. The question is, how much are you losing out because of that? Can you imagine every single second it's on you, you do nothing, and you're banking in mitzvot? You come to the next world, you're going to say, wow, where's all this from? No, nothing, only from wearing tzitzit. Anyway, so we see from over here that a mother, a wife, sister, daughter, doesn't matter. You have to go ahead and try to make sure to help your husbands, the men, the boys, the children, boys in the house. Go ahead and try to help them out in the mitzvah of tzitzit. Have a great day. Baruch Adonai Olam. Amen. Amen.